sometimes if you're dating somebody or in a relationship with somebody, it's no longer what is best for you.
You've had a really, I'd say, normal career progression. You've had one, two, three, four or five companies. You've changed jobs
Mm.
every 2 to 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty normal career progression. So, as a person that's currently a lifer, what would you say to somebody that has not taken the leap yet and leaving their current employer? What would you do to give them that? What would you say to them to kind of give them that confidence that yeah, they can land a new job. They can move on to the next thing.
So, so I most of the time I had a job lined up.
Yeah.
So I left Nissan for Honeywell. Black and Decker for Semitech for the next job.
Yeah.
Um, but so my wife makes laughs at me because I like to do analogies, and a lot of the analogies are like work is like a relationship, like it's
Yeah.
dating, and like sometimes if you're dating somebody or in a relationship with somebody, it's no longer what is best for you, and you can stick it out, but you really should ask yourself why, it made sense years ago when like companies took care of the people and you got benefit for staying with them for 20, 30 years, but like there's no retirement plans now. 401k, you can get that anywhere. Health insurance, you can get that, with most places. So in general, and it's every interview I've had, I was like, if you treat me right, I'll stick around. Usually the thing that kind of pushed me over the edge had more to do with like some like interpersonal thing that was just like, I was this other stuff kind of sucks, but I was kind of sticking out, for whatever reason, and now I'm like, I don't feel like I can do that anymore because it's just kind of. So what would I recommend? It's just well, just like dating, there's always somebody else out there, and every relationship that you have leads you to your next relationship. You learn things about yourself, and this is important. It is really hard to ask somebody who's never dated anybody, what is your ideal partner, right? It's very difficult. Like you have some very general ideas, but once you've been dating and you're like, what do you want? They're like, oh, well, this or that. But if you ask them what they don't want, they go, oh, well, I dated this one person, they did this thing, and I don't like that. And I dated this other person, and they, there's all these red flags. So I look for that now. Same thing for work. You know, what is your ideal work environment? I would have said Semitech was ideal. I love the idea of the projects and whatnot, but then the travel and whatnot became too much. But with every job you have, you learn what you don't want. It's a lot easier to kind of chip away and say, I don't want this, I don't want that. And what is revealed underneath is what you actually would work best for you. And what works best for you is not going to be the same thing that works best for somebody else. You know, so if you're if you're working for a job and you're like, I don't like it here. I'm not happy here anymore. It's not bringing me joy. It doesn't spark joy anymore. You know, then go, all right, well, what don't you like about that job? And can you
Yeah.
find someplace that doesn't have those things? You know, and then try
Exactly.
that. And then
Yeah.
if there are different things that you don't like, okay, well now the next job I'm going to try something else. Like after Nissan, I was like, I'm not going to do commercial stuff because like I can't, like, I don't want to know how the sausage is made. After Black, I was like, then I worked at Black and Decker. I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad, but then also like, so I need to stay out of commercial
Yeah.
because I just know that like for me personally, it wears on me. Not that they're
Yeah.
doing anything wrong. I want to be very clear to your listeners. It's safe. You can definitely buy them. Don't come and sue me, Black and Decker. It's just more of a it's just more of a
Yeah. It's a grueling
I am
process
particular.
trying to find that line between maximizing profits and doing the right thing and doing and fighting for the right thing, but also maximizing profits. I totally
Right.
understand. It grinds on you if you're one of the people that is part of that process of going back and forth and optimizing both
Right.
goals.
And as
So I
somebody that was
totally get it.
working at working specifically on a specific thing, right? So like noise and vibration, right? Then like from my perspective, like, hey, like why wouldn't we fix this? And I
Yeah.
understand, oh, there's costs and there's other things, but like I keep seeing the same problem. Why are we not, addressing this specific thing? It'd be so easy. Um,
Yeah.
so like, aerospace, I worked for Honeywell. I was like, I'm not going to work for aerospace again because Honeywell had some weird things. But it could just be that Honeywell was a bad company. So now I'm working in a different aerospace company, and they seem what I learned from Honeywell. Like, hey, like, we want you to work 50 hours a week until somebody asked them whether or not it was legal to work 50 hours, demand that their people work 50 hours a week. Like, oh, well, work as much as you need to. But 98% of all your work has to be billable hours. So if you take
Yeah.
vacation time, that's not billable hours. So you have to make up your vacation time, which
Yeah.
is really so like when I had the interview with this current company, I was like, hey, this is my experience with aerospace. Like I'm laying it right on the table. Is this your expectation? Like, is this how this works here? They're like, oh, that's weird. No, we don't do that. I'm like, oh, good. I am glad that you agree that this is also not great.
Yeah.
So going back to I bringing in my tangent here. Yeah, if you're thinking about leaving, I highly recommend seeing what's available. There's so much out there right now. So many so many companies are hiring. Um, hey, I watch TikToks, and there was one TikTok that was like, if you match up with all of the expectations of whatever job that's out there, you are overqualified.
Yeah.
Most job requirements are a wish list. They're like they probably want half of what you want of what's on there, and like you can learn it. You can
Yeah.
definitely learn it if you have the experience and the education.
Thank you so much for watching this segment of the Engineering Success Podcast. If you liked it, make sure to check out the other videos down below that are recommended to you. And if you really like the podcast, make sure to subscribe right down there in the middle. We really appreciate it. It's free to you and helps us a lot out. And last but not least, the best way to help the show grow is to comment down below. So leave your comment if you have any thoughts about this segment. Thanks.
Chasing payments, still playing in the basement while I'm working on arrangements. They heard the kid in 50 countries, thank God that's amazing. But I'd rather thank Spotify, they put me on the station.